Welcome to the Galactic Talk with your host, IndigoAngel.
Yes, greetings, hola, bonjour à tous. All right, so show 75, our star speaker. I'm gonna go directly into it. Last time, we actually, the whole family, the people, uh, either came to know her or already knew her. She presented, all right, a beautiful work, the Atlantis Grand Map, in which you had learned the J seal and order and pertinent stuff and the whole connection with the Lemurian Holocaust. All right, so now she do have a report, and this was done actually straight in Peru. All right, Machu Picchu. So show 75, we have Indigo Angel. Indy, welcome.
Wow, that was incredible. I'm so excited to be here.
All right, so welcome, Indy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to come on the Galactic Talk and talk with you, Tano, and everybody watching today. As some of you may know, I did just recently take a trip down to the fifth dimensional Pleiadian Crux Stargate sacral chakra of the world, Machu Picchu, going through Aguas Calientes into the Machu Picchu mountain area. It was just absolutely incredible, and I have so much to share about this particular Stargate. I really feel like right now at this time, we are activated through the Lion's Gate. So this energy is going to be really heightened until it runs through August 8th. But essentially, it's just where the sun and the Syrian sun are synchronizing and they're rising. And so you can actually, at certain glimpses, you can catch in the sky the account for the double sun. So this time right now from July, Syrian season, Hydra season, going into Regulan season, Draco season, Orion season, all of that, it's a very activated, powerful cyclical gateway between galactic, cosmic, and universal realms, because the stargates are opening up a lot more at this time due to all of this solar activity. And it makes the universal stargates more open, more clear. And so a lot of signals start getting sent into the ley lines, start getting sent into the spiritual planetary mechanics and energy functionings to, clear everything that's going on in the grids. It's also sending a lot of clearing at this time to its opposing reversal inner Earth sites. So due to the coordinates of Machu Picchu, while I was there, I was seeing inner Earth filamental corridors that were connecting into the Vatican as well. So even while I was down there, and there was a lot of happenings at the Vatican, it had multiple fires. The prime minister, it's going through some transformation right now. There's internal conflict. The prime minister was trying to resign, and then the Italian government refused it. And the Pope has been trying to travel in Canada, and the Indigenous in Canada just don't really put up with any of his stuff. There's Order by Decree, I think might be the website that they put out a lot of stuff, basically opposing the Pope. They don't want the Pope to set foot on the land in Canada. Also requesting back artifacts. So another clearing that's kind of coming through the Vatican. All of this is connected. Everything is connected here through the coordinates. And there are, networks such as obelisk networks that run the pharaonic male sexual phallum energy in through the grids. That all runs down to Peru as well. So we're receiving from Peru, from Machu Picchu, this great sacral reset. And that was kind of what my artistic piece was about, was to define that essentially. But I think what's really happening at a core subatomic level within the Stargate universal structure itself is that the magnetic core of the Earth is just strengthening. It's being powered. It's being refined, because it is actually degraded and weakened in a lot of areas all over the world globally. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. So much that doesn't really meet the visible eye. Those who are can see through all of this, who can see the Stargates, who can work with the Stargates. It's truly, to know that these things exist, it's truly a blessing. Like, we're definitely chosen people who are, aligned to mission to have this sacred knowledge, because we're wisdom keepers of the land. Just the same as the Incans and the true wizards and shamans and the Kiros. Like, we are all connected to those prophecies. And so it's just really powerful. It's such a sacred place. I mean, there's a lot of ancient portals running to Aguas Calientes. So what are we looking at here? This is the mountain of Machu Picchu. Can you scroll out and show the actual town of Aguas Caliente? It's way down the mountain. It's so, if you go down that road, I think it just keeps on going. But I can see why this is the sacral chakra of the world. I mean, it takes 3 plane rides, a bus ticket, a train ride, and a taxi ride to get down here. You're exhausted by the time you reach Aguas Caliente. But it's really hidden in this sacred valley. And so it kind of takes you into this womb world network that connects into other places energetically, geographically, like Titicaca, Rainbow Lines, Nazca Lines, all of these things. It's called Hot Springs. And basically in the center of this township, there's a large statue of Pachacudi. And Pachacudi is the main Incan emperor. That's a lovely picture of my face there. But yes, Pachacudi, they say that Machu Picchu was actually built for him, like a sanctuary, like a safe haven from him. And it was the descendants of him, like 4 or 5 generations, that actually resulted in the civilization leaving Machu Picchu, so to speak. But this guy is really connected to the motherlands of Mu, Lemuria. The T symbol that he wears on his chest, it's a symbol that is dedicated towards the Crux Constellation. And the Crux Constellation is a very important star. It reigned at the time of Mu in Lemuria. So this was the star that they worshipped as like the heavens, the universal realms, the underworld. Like it contained all aspects to it. And the funny thing is, this star was actually risen over Jerusalem at the time of the crucifixion. So it's a very powerful star. And it's interesting that the symbolism is so solidified here in the sense of a gatekeeper ship that's kind of functioning here to get to the Stargate system itself. And so, yeah, it's really, really powerful. I see this symbol as what interlinks all of the timelines really into this portal. Like, it's just so immense. And I really liked this aspect of it. And it's interesting. So when you go up to Machu Picchu, they have like particular sacred carved rocks that were facing particularly just the Crux constellation. So it's very, very connected to this constellation in this system.
And Indy.
Yeah.
All right. When you saw, I don't want to say statue, but particular energy point, right? What did you channel, or what did you saw?
With Pachacudi?
Yeah.
I just seen that he was like a gatekeeper of the land. his energy was really connected to Apu, which in the Axis Mundi, and Apu was the spirit of the mountain. Everything there is just still so very sacred. Even the people living in that city close to Machu Picchu, it's very torn. You can see the actual impact of colonization, of the Spanish invasion. You can see how the Catholic churches were built on top of their Incan temples and monuments. So you still have like this part of them that is like this invaded part of them, like it's like a draconian almost, right? And then there's also this still very connected to the traditional ways, Pachamama, Apu, spirit of the mountains, honoring Pachacudi and the descendants of Pachacudi and all of these things. So they're running both timelines blended. That was kind of what I seen was some of that inverted reversal warfare. But the energy there is very pure. I did actually see the Stargate. I didn't see it when I went to Machu Picchu. I'm always like searching, like what's going to be revealed to me. Open the gates of the land. What's coming to me? I seen it the next night, actually, because I kept asking the question, like, what does the Stargate look like? And so I received a vision, and it was Pachacudi in skeleton form sitting in like a king's chair over a cave. And then I kind of was granted a skeleton key. It opened me up to the vision of inside of the mountain. And I seen the Stargate inside of the mountain of Machu Picchu, about a third of way down from the citadel itself. I seen that the Stargate was metallic. It was a lot of metallic. I seen it as like an intermosaic metallic interlay into the surrounding mountains, and it was all living energy.
Right.
Later, come to find out, somebody messaged me and told me that the metallic could be the raw magnetic elemental composition of holmium, which is the rawest magnetic element. And I go, well, that would make so much sense if why I'm seeing metallic in the Stargate is because of that magnetic power, given that the sacral chakra is the strongest magnetic field within the earth and within the biology, within the heart magnetic field. And so that just all kind of started to piece together for me. But I seen that it was a vast spiritual network, that these enhanced universal gates permeate into the ley lines and also into other sacred areas like Rainbow Mountain, Nazca Lines. And then also, like, I seen a golden disc underneath Lake Titicaca with a white illumination flame, a purity flame that expanded into a white grid. I seen that these universal stargates are holding all of the original seed codes of man. They're holding connections to all timelines and all dimensions, which all timelines and all dimensions are all constantly technically being altered, being upgraded, being opening and closing at evolutionary cycles. The Stargate is holding the 3 spirals of creation and intergalactic plasma waves in the source field. And they're kind of like the spiritual immune system of the planet. So there's 12 major ones of these all over the world. And they're all different. They all look different. They're all different geometries, different mechanics, different energies that they work with, different power sources, different collective time fields that they connect into. And it's just so amazing to feel and experience it. I'm telling you, I have been really out of it the last week being back. I kind of booked my schedule crazy the last week coming back, thinking like I'm just going to jump back into life and just be back in the flow. But it was like, no, it was like the last week. It's like you integrate all the Stargate energy now, and it's almost like you're in a whiteout. I feel like I've been in a whiteout. I've been so high frequency that time is just not existing. I can't anchor my consciousness into time. It's been really hard.
Got you.
Yeah. It feels like cosmic bliss, cosmic celestial orgasmic bliss. Like it feels like you're just high off of angelic frequency. But it's also revealing a lot of contrast for me, which I think is what's most important. Because as soon as I get back, the first thing that I'm being directed to look at it is CERN. And haven't really zeroed in on CERN before so much. Like I'm always like kind of reading about it and stuff, but I'm not really like fully understanding CERN. And so it got me kind of looking deeper into that and why that's coming up. I think it came to me because I noticed how rich the land and the spirits were in Peru. It is like so the spirits are constantly speaking. Like you can walk outside and you just hear them like fly by. Like it's like, and it's constant light language. It's constant spiritual connection, communication. And then I get back here to the city that I'm from and I don't hear that the same. And
Gotcha.
so I'm looking around going, I always thought when I was going out, I was like connecting to nature and I was like grounding and all of this. But then I realized that the spirits in the major cities that are running in grids, anything connected to cell tower, EMF, blah, 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 whatever, right? Just inundated with artificial technology. It's killing the earth spirits. It's killing its ability to communicate. It's emitting scatter radiation and frequency into the ground. So it's not actually able to. So they're there. It's like the trees and the grass and stuff is there, but it's not living the same way as it is here in these sacred places.
Yep, definitely. Definitely. Andy, some people came here to hear you, all right? Do you mind taking just a few seconds of give a shout out to them?
Oh yeah, sure.
All right. So thank you for coming. All right. Seeing Andy. So we have Virgin Hamilton, I think from New Zealand. So uh came to see Indy.
Hey, Version.
Radery.
Roddery, hey, what's up?
Okay, okay, all right. Saltwater Uterite, all right. From Ontario,
Thank
Canada.
you. Received.
Galactic Warrior Cat. I don't know where you at, but you're probably in Europe. So thanks for coming and seeing Indy. Um, PSW, all right. Shout out to you. Hey, Indy, that's interesting. You might know him. I don't know. Joaquin Estay. He's from Chile. So you are not far from.
All
So,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
South America in the house.
Saludo para ti, Joaquin. All right. So we have PG Tucker and more people. But you know what? When you mentioned this, Joaquin is stating, nature spirits are powerful in South America. All right. So
yeah.
it made me think about when I going on the island and going to specific spot, caves, waterfalls, and stuff like you mentioned it are really present. All right. So would you mind before going on CERN and showing actually one of the drawing that you did? Would you mind of stating, especially when we look at this photo, all right, um, some of the either channeling or what did you said it, but let's go a little bit more into the details, what you were seeing, but far away than uh, the physical, all right, uh, morphology. So I'll let you explain this, Indy.
Well, for me, it was definitely a deep interpersonal journey. I spent a lot of time hiking and getting bit by mosquitoes, which my subscribers know about. Really bad. Got bit up real bad. But I was clearing a lot. Just everything that I was oppressing or suppressing within my sacral. I felt like there was some form of a womb rite of passage that was also happening at the same time because my cycle also aligned with the trip. You know, I mean, I know that's personal, but that's, you know, it's spiritual, and that's what connects you into the spirits. That's what aligns you to the evolution and the initiations and the activations that you're getting when you're going to these places. So I think it cosmically aligned me that way. A lot of emotional clearing. I cried so many times. Just because I could hear the spirits speaking to me every time that I had something coming up that I was struggling with emotionally, or some form of self-doubt, or some form of just whatever it was that I was working through or clearing. It was like the spirits would come through and they would speak to me, and it was on such a native earth tongue that it was just undeniable. You know, it was really easy to get comfortable and feel at home, and I could feel the setting of all of the toxicity that we carry within us in the city. I mean, just being in the city, it's like a level of anxiety that actually just comes over your body, because it's artificial frequency that's around you, all over you, constantly. It's dead miasma. It's black miasma. The miasma is not living. The plasma is degraded. The you know, spirits from the land is just not coming up from the ground. So it's like you're basically being put back into a desert, a very dry desert, where the people around you are zombified. And that's what I realized. Like, if people are not talking about spirituality, if they're not living spirituality, if they're not speaking spirituality, if they're not connected into the divine, if that's not something that is clearly energetically communicated, it's not living within them.
Gotcha.
Or it is at a very, you know, quantum, hidden, suppressed, and oppressed unconscious level, if they even have a soul. I mean, a lot of these beings around in these areas, they're discarnate negative beings, soulless beings that don't have light body fields, things like this. So it's just really strange how we have these alternate parallel worlds playing out. And it's just one plane ride away type of thing. And that's what made me start to see that there are grid fluctuations that are being controlled, and computer generated controlled, artificially controlled. I've talked about a lot of the overlays of the control networks through the Aquilin systems, through the 4 hybridized quadrant systems, the royal systems, the draconic systems. All of these overlays ultimately that connect back into the hive, connect back into the AI singularity vortexes, and connect back into these designated substations of certain groups that are pulling things back to a supercomputer. Basically, they're controlling the entire grids with the supercomputers. And yeah, so it becomes so much more crystal clear when you step out of it and look back into it. It's like, whoa, you know?
Got you. Yeah.
So this is this was my Georgia Guidestone deep dive that I did. So I haven't covered any of this with you, Tano, but if you want to cover it sometime, I mean, we could always do a show on it. But basically, a deep dive on the Georgia Guidestones, which are now taken down. But 3 months before that happened, I put out a pretty deep dive in portal collapse and just energetic work that I had done on that location. And so that actually happened right before I left for Peru. And then my website and all the videos that I did on the Georgia Guidestones just like blew up because people were looking for information and intel on it. And it was just like, whoa, that happened. But it was like this series of events, right? Where we had the CERN Particle Hadron Collider turned on. Next day, Georgia Guidestones. Next day, Hoover Dam. Next day, Vegan City obelisks were hit with lightning strikes. People are thinking it's the rods of the gods coming down through satellite. Militarization, directed energy weaponization. I feel personally, after looking at all of this, that it all kind of stems from CERN. That everything is coming back to CERN at the end of the day. And I've been seeing this through nuclear radio atomic activation that's happening. So with this great sacral reset and all these lovely, fluffy, amazing, organic, spiritual things that are happening, these great spiritual collective resets, kind of spiritual resets, we're also going nuclear, atomic within our consciousness on an organic level and also on an artificial level. I keep seeing or hearing the words that nuclear, intelligent nuclear energy is artificial intelligence.
And you've been, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think all of this goes back to CERN because it is the, what is it called? It's the European, I gotta go to my notes.
And there's something that's really interesting while you're looking at your notes. Um, my group, one of the individual went there um, July 2nd, and she had to do a certain work, energy work. And at the same time, this is not, it cannot be disclosed at this time, but we end up doing missions in several areas,
Yeah.
me in particular in Toronto. And, but anyway, that would be great if we could in a future show talk about the successive, things that you did, and probably with myself and my group member. But anyway, we could definitely check this. But yeah, keep going, please, Indy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like deep dive on Georgia Guidestone type of thing.
Yeah, one of the group know exactly who did it, but couldn't disclose it publicly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, couldn't close it publicly, but since you did several work about it, I would like to do that collab uh, with Jessica, basically. And but anyway, people, that's gonna be for a future show.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you some of the like little things that I've mentioned on my channel that I've connected things to. So it was the Georgia Guidestones was impacted on the Swahili Hindi stone in the southeast corner. The southeast corner, and you can zoom into it on the map and you can see actually too if you want to.
Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna open your blog because you do keep going, but I'm gonna show it while
Sure.
you
So
explain.
the southeast corner points towards one of the largest nuclear plants in the United States, also down to a nuclear submarine base in Georgia as well. Yep, that's in the picture there. Yeah, that was the remote view that I did on it. So it was that Swahili Hindi stone that was basically impacted. It points in the southeast corner, points to nuclear facilities. I feel like everything follows back to nuclear radiation at the end of the day. When I was there doing this remote view and just kind of tuning into the energy here, I seen a lunar shaft that was going down into the ground. And then I seen at the bottom of that lunar shaft, there was radio nuclear atomic pools of energy. Well, this is what they do with CERN, or what I think is happening with CERN anyways, is they are ripping black holes in black matter. And I think they're using degraded areas of the space-time continuum to basically tear those black holes. So I think the impact on the Georgia Guidestones, they were opening up a black hole. I think it would be interesting to go to the Georgia Guidestones now, having that happen, to see if there's an opened up wormhole in the 1D and the 2D dimensional fields. I think I feel like CERN's been around since Atlantis. Like it's just been renamed. It's been hidden. It's been all of these things because I think they're repeating Atlantean timelines and running other types of mind control programs with that. That's why I think CERN is the pinnacle point of the Central Intelligence Agency. At the end of the day, we have to look at what CERN has been doing. So my notes were that I was going back to was It's the European Organization for Nuclear Research. And I think people forget that because they hear the Hadron Particle Collider and immediately they're distracted from that. Like they think that's all that CERN is, but they're not realizing the fundamentalism of the organization. And I think that CERN is an elusive intent to create a mask of protection, a future exploration of our particle universe, when really it's implementing the highest level and orchestration of nuclear research, AI, global grid computing control, and artificial intelligence. And they're heading all of the supercomputers, right? So all of this is connected to the Vatican because of the supercomputers that they're using for money laundering and all of these things in the Vatican as well. So it's like they're running the headquarters for CERN from under Lake Geneva. But then there's entire networks of situations like the Vatican militarization complexes, DARPA. I think the Georgia Guidestones were a part of this. That's why if you go to that map that I had, like I had CERN and then I had ley lines to all of these other places, because I think this is kind of like the head of operations, so to speak. And then they can use nuclear sites such as Georgia Guidestones, which even though it was low nuclear radiation, it was still, there still was a pool or an accumulation of it there, because it comes in through dead miasma. It comes in through activated plasma that's attracted to lower vibration or lower frequency type sites or suffering. So it will actually pool itself around those types of areas. I also think there's a reason why in Russia and Ukraine, Putin and all of that, they're going after nuclear sites. And they're trying to set up base and have wars over nuclear sites, right? It's because this nuclear energy has some form of value. And I think that it's one way that they can continue to harvest off of mankind, feed off of the loosh of mankind, also feed off of your astral field when you're going to sleep at night, because you enter into these space-time continuums and areas of nuclear degraded sites where they can tag you and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's really just about us repairing the earth at the end of the day. Like it's all this complicated stuff, but I mean, it's a lot of damage that has ultimately been done that's taking a toll on multi-dimensional planes on this existence. But yeah, I think that they can target whatever site through supercomputers, through the grid computational capacity that they have. That was that picture that I sent you where it was like CERN and then there's all the countries with computers around. Yeah, I
that one here
pulled this off a video on YouTube and I forgot which video it was, but I can send it to you so you can put a link in the description. But
sounds good.
Yeah, so this is CERN. It's the main supercomputer, and this main supercomputer is it's a world community grid ran by IBM, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Android operating systems. And interesting about Canada, because they transferred the ownership to a University Health Network in Toronto, Canada.
Say that again.
Yeah, they transferred the world community ownership to University Health Network in Toronto, Canada.
All right, so that's going to be good, because on July 3rd, I went there.
Really?
And I did a mission, literally. And this has provoked something that a lot of people saw on July 8th. But I was not alone. But since you're saying this, I'm just perceiving that it's connected. The Toronto thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
I felt that too. That's why when you said Toronto a minute ago, I was like, wait a minute, Toronto something. This was it. This was what I did want to tell you. Yeah, so well, I think Canada plays a big part in it as well, because I know the Indigenous there are really fighting back against the Pope. You know, they've barred him from their sacred lands. I mean, I was reading the order by decree, and they were talking about how there was like hundreds of Indigenous children that were, you know, murdered, or their bodies or their remains were found in these areas where they just built Catholic churches over top of their sacred and indigenous temples or shrines or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And also they're holding him accountable right now. When I say there's more clearing at the Vatican right now, it's because of all of these stolen artifacts that are in the vault of the Vatican, the books, the sacred shamanic rites, everything that was pillaged and taken. They're holding power because of that. So they need to release that energy back to its sacred keeping, so that way the
Mm-hmm.
indigenous can tell their tales, so that way intergenerational karmas and traumas and wounds can be healed. That's all a part of the energy that they're holding in this nuclear energy and the rips and time space time continuums, is this
Right.
traumatic miasma. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you mentioned this because the Niagara Falls
Yes.
between 1800s and 1850. There's another story, we'll talk to it, but how do you say when you cut like a throat of someone?
Like
Be
decapitate.
decapitated. Yeah, so they decapitated several hundreds of indigenous women, dark skinned women, and they threw them in the Niagara Falls. But I've been
Wow.
checking, yeah, but I've been checking that since then the Niagara Falls, and like you mentioned, what's the name? Be oh, what's yeah, Pachacudi, right? So there's a over there too. There's a gatekeeper,
Mm.
but yeah, but you know what?
That's
Hey,
interesting. You'll have to tell me the gatekeeper to Niagara Falls, because I have worked with Niagara Falls a lot in group
mm,
root sessions. Niagara Falls, we have seen, me and a couple other seers have always seen it to be a gateway into the higher seven harmonic universes. And that if you go and access in through, I'm sorry, somebody just knocked on my window.
yeah.
It was a neighbor kid. It was a
Oh
neighbor
wow,
kid.
sounds
They
good.
probably
Sounds
want
good.
to see what my girls are up to.
Gotcha.
I'm sitting in the front room. This way the sunlight's coming in.
Got you. Sounds good. Sounds good.
But yeah, Niagara Falls it's definitely a portal into higher creational structures, and I've always used it for landing sites when going in to do grid work, because it carries the encoding to the dove templating and to the Hopi prophecy. It carries everything, like seed wise, spiritually, to New Earth prophecies. And I also feel like it's a gateway into the Lemurian grid templating. It's also a gateway into Machu Picchu. 100% inner Earth gate sites into the
Mm,
Pacific Ocean, into Hawaii. Yes, it's
mhm,
very pure.
mhm. Well, another item to put on the list, indie, to
Yeah.
collab with. So you heard people. But you know what? I didn't know this connection with Machu Picchu. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna do some investigation just to from what you've been sharing, because that's probably gonna open up some more information. So
Yeah.
very interesting.
I think it's imperative right now too that divine feminine and divine masculines
Hmm.
really connect into the sacral aspect of themselves. That's where we're holding, I think, the most oppression and suppression of our anxieties, our traumas, our pain bodies, our trigger bodies. It's our sorrow. Um, we look at what are the most major collective chakra blockages in the world biologically across the board: sacral chakra and throat chakra, constantly. Why? Those two are interconnected. Um, and so we have to kind of get to the root, I think, of gender imbalance, gender polarity, gender fracking, gender misery, division, gender mutilation, gender confusion, I mean, it's just gender, 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 gender. It's like the whole universal principle of the division of the sexes is a wrecking ball. And I've been
Yeah.
trying to figure out why. It led me to starting to learn about parthenogenesis creation, which was a gal that I had on my channel not too long ago. Her name is Maureen, and she was carrying wisdom from the ancient Kiros, which are the groups of the Incans that took off into the Andean mountains to keep the tradition sacred. And they talked about parthenogenesis creation, which is birthing without seed artifact. And this is just heart to womb connection and double virgin birthing, like the Virgin Mary. Like these stories that have been taken by the Catholic Church and turned into some sort of forbidden fruit,
Right.
or whatever it is. But really, it might actually be the key to karma-free births, male and female, on this earth. And it's been a technology that has been intentionally lost and taken. And so
Lots of good things. Lots of good things. And but you know what? Let's come back to Machu Picchu, right? So, what do you feel you had? I'm gonna say upgraded or enhanced with your abilities. The fact that you came out, more on the northern part of America. Could you share it with
like
us,
more of like
please?
my own personal spiritual abilities having gone there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have started to see the Earth's auric field from inside the Stargates. So I woke up this morning, I immediately seen inside the Stargate in Machu Picchu, like, because I'm still connected. And I seen the Earth's auric field. I seen that it was yellow and almost like a light green and a dark blue today, and that's changing all the times. But the auric field of the Earth is permeating from the Stargate sites, and that we can just go inside them to see it from the inside out. So that was kind of an upgrade for me. I think I'm still integrating a lot of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I said that it really allowed me to see more of the nuclear activations. It's almost like I said, there's this organic aspect to nuclear consciousness or nuclear atomic consciousness that you can access, which is just super consciousness field or super quantum. And so I've been seeing how that is mirroring AI, and that AI intelligence itself might simply just be the evolution and the artificial nuclear development that is creating the beast mechanics or the gravitron within the Earth, which is these compartmentalized systems that all connect to one to feed off of human blood.
Right. Got you. Thank you for sharing this, Indy. And um hopefully, we're gonna hear more as the days goes by, because you're saying like there's things that still evolving or appearing, all right, to you. So one thing though, when we look at this, okay, um the fact that you have right here, all right, aguas caliente in here, all right, you have a river, but you have this relief, and you have the beautiful side that's on top. um, you mentioned you saw something probably at, correct me, at 1/3 or 2/3 down, right?
Yes.
All right, so
And it
yeah.
was all connected through celestial filaments. So I seen trajectories of celestial filaments coming from the Crux constellation and the Pleiadian constellation, and that filamentation absorption process, transduction process was happening through the carved stones in Machu Picchu. I actually felt as I was walking through the Incan citadel itself that there were actually particular areas that were open portals where you could actually feel that energy more strong in certain areas. And so it just made me really emotional at some of those areas because it was very
Right.
powerful healing energy that would come through. Um, And then, yeah, I seen it as like an ultra spectrum, a metallic spectrum, um, I have the neighbor kids that are knocking on the door.
I
I'm like, what is the timing right now? Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's just gonna go and come back or something.
Yeah, no
He wants to
worries.
come see what the girls are up to. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's the Stargate it's just radiant. It's magnificent. It's illuminated. It's a powerful vortex that is a gateway into the universal, celestial, and cosmic realms. Hang on just one second, okay?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. All right, so people be patient. Children or putting their energy. So we're gonna wait for India, right? Um so the last thing we were talking actually is what India's felt over there, all right? In terms of energy, in terms of etheric as well, etheric fields, energetic fields, and some of the things that did enhance her abilities. So yeah, Indy.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's all good. It's all good.
life. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to think more how to describe the Stargate itself. I seen it within my heart first, and then I seen it within the mountain. And so that's kind of how it always happens for me, is it's something that expands energetically or frequency wise from within me. And that's how I connect into it so much. That was exactly how it felt when I connected into the Temple Mount, and I actually seen a Stargate portal to Nibiru underneath it. Is I would seen the planet of Nibiru that would expand from within me. That's another one of the locations that I think is being targeted right now through the Vatican CERN nuclear network is Temple Mount as well, because I got a lot of reports from people that were traveling during that time, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, that were in the Temple Mount, that they were all being hit with like bioweapons and all kinds of stuff. Like things were just really messed up.
I
So
got you.
it's definitely a global thing. But these stargates, these universal sites, are our spiritual immune system. This is what's cleansing. This is what we're drawing from. This is what we're clearing the magnetic D13 current from, the crystal grid templating, the diamond templating. It's all originally seeded from the structural points of these Stargate systems. And so here at this Stargate, like I said, it's really like, it's about sacral energy. It's about healing. And that's what my message is overall, is being guided back to that. Working to understand relationships, releasing yourself from isolation.
Right.
I think a lot of people are super isolated right now, and it's really hard for them to even trust other human beings at this time. So healing a lot of our connection with one another, I think that's at the core of the crux. Opening our hearts, being able to share this information and show our vulnerability, show our humility, show our connection to the divine, to the sacred source field, that has been lost in a lot of ways. A lot of us light workers, I think, fight for it every single day, but we need more people on board to be doing that with us. We need more people to be sharing this information, this spiritual knowledge, showing how to connect. That was one thing that I noticed down there as well, was it wasn't just about grounding with your feet. I kept being guided, put your hands on the ground, draw the energy up into your hands, draw it into your prana, into your chi. I talked about this in the last video that I did, that you can actually bring the celestial filaments up in through the hands, up into the heart chakra, and up into the eyes, and draw the celestial filaments into the eyes so you can see it in the soul. And we all have the capacity and capability to do that, but we have to be on lands that are living. We can't really get the same effect if we're doing it in the city. I mean, you can go and connect with the ground, but that ground is permeated with scattered radiation and electromagnetic frequency, and the spirits are not even there. We have to get to places that carry the vast richness and the soul living life force energy of that. And that makes me so sad. That really does break my heart to know now that I can see. It's like if I could see the whole Earth's grid, it's like there's all these light outs that are just like happening all over the place. Like this whole side of the Western United States is completely blacked out. Like there's nothing living there. Like, yeah, they have the spirits of the ocean and they're connected to the Pacific and all of these things, but the land itself is really struggling just to survive. That's why there's so many fires. It's going up in smokes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you heard Hindi, all right? So that was a, personal channeling and report, all right, from a traveling, all right? Yeah, from a travel to that specific spot, all right? South America, Machu Picchu, or, you also went to Lake Titicaca.
I didn't go there,
Oh, okay,
actually.
sorry,
I
sorry,
just
okay.
seen it like in a vision.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't
All
actually
right.
go there. No, you need so much time.
Yeah.
You need time because you can't get it all in like a day, and you need for something like that. You really need probably like I would say a good 3 weeks because you don't want to just rush your way around certain sacred sites. You want to be able to. And that's what it feels like. I could tell that there was this level of like monetary hustle and bustle just to get people up there. And that was what most people did. They would just like hustle and talk with Caliente for the night, and they would then like get to Machu Picchu and then be out the next morning. And so when people in the city and the town were like, "You're actually staying here for more than a night?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm hanging out with you guys." They're like, "Oh, that's most people don't do that, so same with Egypt. When I went to Egypt, I was there for 6 weeks and I still didn't get to everywhere I wanted to go.
I know. I got you with
Yeah.
this. You're definitely right on this. So, ladies and gentlemen, all right. So now we have less than 10 minutes. So we have the luxury of hearing, all right, beautiful information, intel from Indy. Indy. So let's put this, all right. This is from Libby. IndigoAngel, your Machu Picchu videos are so powerful and uplifting.
Thank you so much, Libby. I know the last one was quite the artistic collaboration, but I am super proud of it. It was I felt a little rusty, honestly, expressing myself, but it was really liberating at the same time. And I love doing stuff like that. I love being able to linguistically put artistic masterpieces together that just expand consciousness. I wanted to see if I could talk a little bit about maybe some of the services that I have too.
Sure, of course.
Just because I have a new service that I just put up called my.
But before this, because I've seen two questions, right? Would you like stating your thoughts? So someone before told me, oh, thought was CERN was shut down, but I don't know. And the other gentleman here, El Código de la Gota, what about CERN? Is it operating or not? So probably just a few seconds, and then let's jump at your service.
I haven't like checked it as of today, but as far as I knew, they did turn it on July 5th, I believe it was. I don't know if it's something that runs for X amount of days or whatever that particular, but it's not the only part or department that's running at CERN. Like that's just turning the accelerator particle collider on and off. It's not the only thing they have going on. They have supercomputer, like I said, grid, global grid computation, and it's the world-based supercomputer basically of the world. So there's all kinds of thousands and thousands of scientists that are working there, and they vet these scientists out. They don't just let anybody work up in there. They got spiritually enlightened people in there, and they choose strategically the people that they employ there, and there's a lot that goes into what they're doing there. So it's interesting that they do that. there's got to be much more psychological reasons that have been vetted out by central intelligence agencies to make sure that that place is running smoothly. But yeah, as far as if that Hadron Collider Particle Accelerator is currently on as we speak, I do not know.
All right. So thank you, people, for your question. So now we're coming to the final moment of the show. So, Indy, you mentioned your services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Well, I just wanted to tell you about a new one that I put out called the Lemurian Implant Tag and Removal. And it's for women of the Fleur de Lis lineages, Mary Magdalene lineages, Palladian lineages, Hydra lineages, Cassiopean Cygnus lineages, anybody who is energetically contracted to the timelines of Lemuria and the timelines of Mu that have, I guess, been torn apart from their fifth dimensional soul mate type of thing, have and strapped with moon chains and all kinds of reproductive distortions. And it's a whole bag of motherhood hooks and wounds that come down through that. But basically, it's just a deep sacral clearing. So it really kind of fits into the energy that I had picked up on at Machu Picchu, and just a continuation of that healing. We utilize the global Lemurian golden temples to do a lot of the healing and removal of those energetically, because it is a very delicate type of removal. But I also have JCR removals, Draco seal removals, and I do the 13-dimensional chakra clearing as well, which is where we would open up the etheric body and dive in psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and just, clear things up, clean things up, and transmute things, all the good stuff, just getting, things self-actualized and healed. But yeah, so I have that. I also have Starseed origin readings as well. I wrote a book called How to Read Starseed Celestial Akashic Origins. So you can find all of that on my website.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I share it probably a little bit in delay. So this one is for, especially here, we sing like, the ovaries. So would you mind stating that again? The Lemurian regression, implants and tags.
Yeah, so this one is, and not every woman's going to have every single thing, but it's just a way that the controllers try to cap the divine feminine's organic sexuality, reproduction, fertility, just sovereignty of her body, period. And this doesn't have anything to do with women's rights or abortion rights, nothing like that. Like, it's just about healing whatever it is. So if you're a woman who's even had an abortion and you've had scraping in the uterus and you've had traumas from that, well, then that's something that we need to address and heal and work through. Like, I mean, it's about just healing women from distortions that have come down from the original genocidal traumas prior to Atlantis, through savagery, through cannibalism, through vampirism, through PDSs, through misogyny. There's a lot of weight here that is held in the energetic field, and a lot of women don't even fully recognize the extensiveness of it. And that's why I feel like I'm there to help guide through that and facilitate that, is because I can see things that maybe they can't see, and just help them to, let's say you have a divine feminine who struggles with motherhood, or like being a single mom, or like just like whatever it is. Sometimes those are hooks and clips and clamps that actually come down through the forced breeding programs. There's all kinds of stuff. It's just digging through it energetically and ethically with a deeper lens to see where all these things are coming from, and see if you need to have implants or tags removed from these things. Yeah, it's really extensive.
But there's a tremendous essence to it. So, yeah, beautiful stuff.
I love the picture of that because
Oh, I'll go back.
yeah, it's a Stargate. So you can see in the diamond is a Stargate.
Oh, okay, the previous one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. So that the womb itself, and this is what Maureen would say, is that the womb itself is not damaged or is not broken or is not
Mm-hmm.
it's a powerhouse. It's your force of creation. So you can actually work with the womb to manifest anything, take seeds of consciousness and place them down into your womb. You can do so much with this part of the body because it is a direct portal to the divine, and it's between worlds, between the physical and the spiritual realm, and it anchors souls into this earthly plane. So there's a lot of gate systems. There's up to 8 gate systems in the womb. The first 3 are accessible and achievable by orgasm, but the other ones I think are more etheric and more spiritual and astral in nature, and that these take you into deeper planetary levels. You can literally access the pyramid networks through the womb gates and send
Good.
healing and
Excellent.
send clearing. So it's isn't it kind of interesting? It's amazing, right?
Oh, it is. It is. It is. And something was flashing me. Uh, for a certain individual, um, fibroids. I hope I'm pronouncing right? So
Mhm.
now that you talk about it, I'm seeing as well that's a sort of a, you know, yeah, you do have physically, but I'm seeing it that's a subtle, I'm going to use your word that you're using here, a subtle implants that has
Yes,
been
yes, yes.
attached, so yeah, likely, yeah,
And
likely
I
be.
didn't even put
Uh-huh.
all these implants on here. I mean, there could be implants in the glandular system because they also want to
Mm,
attack the hormonal imbalance as well.
mm-hmm,
So sometimes they're in the glands of that are secreting your um, estrogen and your testosterone. Um, and a lot of women think that they're crazy. They think that they have all these things wrong with them, and really, it's these energetic um, implants that are leading to such severe chemical imbalances and
mm-hmm,
distortions. Yeah, so yeah, the uterine fibroids, like you just said, that comes up a lot. Um,
mm-hmm,
mhm.
mm-hmm. Hey, listen, I could keep you for hours and just, exchanging, collaborating, and building stuff. But in the within the schedule, unfortunately, she was allowed for 1 hour with us. There was a question here. I'm just gonna show it, but was this caused thyroid disease?
Well, all disease is a manifestation of something that's happening on a spiritual level. So, not this one's, well, I mean, it could be related to thyroid disease. It just, everybody's situation is different. So, it really takes kind of a breakdown of kind of getting into what it is specifically. But for a male, something like that would probably maybe come through a different implant system versus something like this. But yeah, I think all of the glandular systems are definitely
Uh-huh.
that, and the central nervous system is what I think is most under attack, most predominantly from the negative agendas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Totally, totally. So this was a beautiful actually sharing, all right, by Indy on the services. This is the Lemurian regression. She mentioned as well the DAO seal removal, the J seal that we saw during the Atlantis grid map, all right, and the 13 dimensional chakra clearing. There's more into it, but go check it out. I'm gonna put this I'm gonna highlight this, all right? So IndigoAngel, all right, chichichu.com. Go check this and go check as well, her 3 videos that she did. So the Great Sacred Reset is coming, Machu Picchu, 5D Stargate, Vatican fires internal conflict, all right, and the global clearance from Machu Picchu, and the energy update, all right, Pachamama. So this is really interesting this. All right, so hopefully we're gonna build this. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, show it.
This is Pachamama. Yes.
Uh-huh. Sounds good. Sounds
I
good.
I have to tell you too, what
Yeah.
one of before we wrap this up, one of the most amazing things that I really enjoyed about Peru was the coca leaves. And how much they connected with the coca leaves and how that was their form of blessing Pachamama and making offerings to Pachamama. It was just full on divine earth worship. That's what Pachamama was. And it was just some of these ancient heroes. Just to everyone watching, go watch the video Wisdom Keepers by Paco Andino. Such an amazing movie, and it will touch your heart so much, and you'll actually see what these shamans did every day, all day. It's just absolutely, it's beautiful. So yeah, and my friend Glenn, that was my friend Glenn.
Oh, that's your friend Glenn. So shout
Yeah,
out to you, Glenn. You can take
yeah.
a few seconds, give a shout out to her.
Or Owen, you can call him Owen. Yeah,
Owen.
but
All right. All right.
but yeah, yeah, super amazing. So thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime. You know what? And looking at Glenn's feedback or requests, I'm up to it. All right. So whenever Indy, schedule is allowable, I will definitely, extend our collaboration. So much stuff want to talk, so much stuff I want you to share. All right, especially the grids and more into it. So definitely, thanks to the people. All right, so Fred Williams, Lady Libby V. All right, so Uncle Gary, New York. All right, so Virgin Hamilton. There was someone actually from Europe. But so Allah Mahat, I just wanted to show it to you, Indy. All right. So we had some people from Guatemala. All right. So the Tasho, Ireland, Jonathan Dole. All right. So yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
International in the house.
Yeah. So show 75 with Indigo Angel. All right. So please go check her website. All right. So it's Indigo angel222.com, YouTube, Indigo Angel. All right. So, Indy, I'll let you have the last word.
Well, just thank you so much for letting me come on and talk today. I hope we can follow up with some deep dives. I'll definitely keep you posted when I decide to go in some squirrely directions, as I'm always off into the woo woo. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching and for being here. And I hope you guys have a beautiful everything.
All right. So, stay safe, everyone. And thanks to all the benevolent beings, all right, wherever they are. All right. So, thank you. Your host, I know L, and our star speaker, show 75, Indigo Angel. Thank you.